What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we're taking a look at a real special one from NL Knives. And if you've been following the channel for a little while, you'll have seen this is now my second NL knife that I have done. So I will have, if you search the channel, there'll be another one. This is for a customer, and who has now become a bit of a friend, and there's some trust there that he wanted to check out another one of their knives. So I was able to get this for him. So really excited to take a look at this and see what you guys think. But as a reminder, check out my website, BladeZilla.ca, where I have everything that is on the site in stock, ready to go, in Canada. And I do ship down to the US as well. So if that is something you want to do, then you can absolutely do that. But lots of knives in stock, ready to go, and right at your fingertips. Definitely focusing on the higher end stuff. But if there's something you're looking for, I can probably find it. So enough of that. We're going to get into this knife because I am so excited. And I guess the backstory for this one... Oh, it's just hiding in there, eh? I guess the backstory for this one is to kind of think about every once in a while, a knife comes around that really changes things for you. And it's loud, it's something that is kind of different than perhaps what a lot of other people have in their collections, but is so cool and different that makes it super special. So as you can kind of see here, this is the NL Knives KeyOne K1. So I will be the first to say this. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee. I'm going to stumble through this because there's certain knives that are definitely above my pay grade when it comes to trying to tell you about the design, the aesthetics, the techniques in manufacturing, all that really cool stuff, because it's just so well done. And you'll see already my fingerprints are getting all over this. So it's going to be an interesting one to kind of flip through together. But let's at least kind of get started. And I'm going to keep this cloth down because I don't want to put any little micro scratches on this because it is polished. I believe it is titanium, I would imagine. But I've got a spec sheet beside me, so let's get started and kind of start things off. So KeyOne K1, this guy is from NL Knives. I'm going to grab my tape measure, which I think it's 3.5 inches on the blade. About 3.5 to the center. And overall, just under 8 inches. So I'd say more of like a stellar size knife, if I'm guessing, which I will grab a stellar now and kind of show you what that looks like by comparison. So there's your Shiro Stellar, and I will also grab a neon just to kind of show what that would look like. And I'm going to try to make sure I don't touch any of these things together. So there you go. It's definitely bigger than a neon, but not by much. A little taller handle. Has their unique kind of handle pattern, very similar to the what is it called, the Aurum, I think, that I've reviewed before, the Aurum 2. So really cool. And I guess I could grab the Haddion as well that I have, just because it's cool, and you can see that absolutely as well. So there you go. And I have another knife that has not been on the channel here, the Vegas V-Cards in copper. Actually, that's, I'd say, more attuned to the size. Even that is a little smaller, a little shorter than this. And full-size stuff, you've seen everything I own, but somebody else will throw Quantum. There we go. And let's go with my Astrum, which is hiding back here, which is actually very similar in that it's dressy and pointy. So there you go, a lot longer, but that should give you an idea. Now, the main thing that I'm trying to get across here is this. This is going to be a difficult blade to kind of show in a video, because this is, I believe it's called Dragon Scale Damascus. And the video is going to make it look kind of white or black, and it's more of like a blue color, like a blue, deep purple, dark color, and it's really difficult to show without having natural light hit it, because I'm looking at this right where the camera is and it's looking black, but it's actually very blue, purple, and it is so cool. So I'm going to try to roll this around quite a bit throughout the video, so hopefully you can get an idea of what that color actually looks like. And as I roll it around on my fingertip, I hope that I don't actually cut myself in multiple places, because it is screaming frickin' sharp. So where do we start? Well, I guess let's put this blade away and look at the pivot, okay? And I'm already seeing fingerprints, which is just a little scary for me. So it's a riveted pivot, I believe, which I don't know the service level of that, but anytime, you know, they talk rivets, you would assume permanent, which is cool. You know, this is not a knife that I would imagine many people would carry. It's jewelry level. A lot of time spent to get the titanium to polish like this. It's very it's gorgeous. So the Dragon Scale Damascus is heat treated, I believe, to a 61 hardness, which I believe is pretty good, I would imagine. Spec sheet wise, they say it's 3.4 ounce, which makes sense. I was going to probably say around 3.5. If you want me to weigh it, signal yes. All right, I'll wait. But on paper, it's 3.4 ounces. So I'll get a, you know what, may as well at least standardize it for you guys. If you want to skip ahead 10 seconds, go for it. But there we go. 3.5, there you go. 3.6, 3.5, 3.5, perfect. So that's the Salter $10 coffee scale weight, I suppose, which is what I use on all my knives, which I get nice and accurate with, and sometimes not even close. It's obviously got a flipper tab, and if we look at the direction of that flipper tab, it is in front of the pivot. And if you remember what I've talked about, the correlation between the front, the middle, and behind the pivot, examples being the Dr. Death. If you look at how the flipper tab is way behind the pivot, it tends to feel like a very soft detent, and as they move it forward, they tend to be a heavier blade. Now this is neither a heavy blade or a soft detent. I'd say it's kind of normal, but the pivot, the pull is very light. So it's just something to get used to in terms of that position, because it is very upright compared to some of the other knives. But it's very sharp, as you can kind of see. Lots of jimping in there. And it flies out, as expected. Now, the inlays on this guy. Oh boy, well, I have no idea what that material is, so I'm going to look at my spec sheet here. So they're calling these natural material inlays, which I don't know what that is, but typically, like, natural would be like wood or, you know, like bone, that kind of thing. Definitely not like ivory or anything like that, but to me this looks like, you know, wood of some kind, or some kind of, maybe, I don't know if it would be bone, but something like that. Or the fact that you can see some like cracks kind of forming, not forming, but formed. You know, maybe it's rock, could be that as well in the material, which is cool, right? You get one down there, got some under the clip back here, so it could be some kind of rock as well. Granite or something. Not granite. What am I even saying, hey? It runs on ceramic bearings, which is a nice touch, because you don't want to damage the blade itself. So you're going to put a ceramic on there, which is cool. Back spacers, polished tie with a real nice kind of wavy pattern to it, which looks phenomenal. Clip is attached externally and is also polished tie. Nothing too special, nothing fancy, but certainly a dressy style to the clip. It's a liner lock, as I mentioned. And let's take a look at some of the work on this. Pretty cool. So the frame acts as its over travel, which is obviously pretty standard in the liner lock business. You've got about 33%, maybe more, lockup, which is nice. In terms of the skeletonization inside, although it looks quite thick, it's actually got some milling inside it, some deep pockets on the non-inset side, and then as well in the heel. In terms of balance, I don't want to do this over my hand. It's a little back heavy, which is what you'd kind of expect with something that has such a thick handle to it. In hand, I'm an extra large glove, and my pinky finger kind of catches a little bit on that last profile. So I'd say it's in a really solid medium-sized to large-sized glove hand. But for me, you can also just push that finger up onto the back, and then it becomes very comfortable. I love the NL that's engraved here onto the dragon scale. I think that looks really sharp. It's very subtle in how it's done. They've always done detail work really well, and I recall on the Aurum 2 that I reviewed, it had a very distinctive feel in hand. Like it almost felt boxy but rounded off, and this has a very similar feel to it, just in a smaller overall package. You can see underneath the back spacer as well, it looks like we've got some kind of a pattern kind of cut into that. And I know for a fact my buddy Matt is going to be telling me what that is, because he's told me already. I think it was called like engine turned or something. But anyway, looks really good. I love the little details like that. I always love details like that where you can't see it. Numbering wise, I don't think this is numbered internally or anything. They're all customs, so they're all going to be one-offs. But it would be nice if they did something on the heel or something. You know what? I haven't even looked at what else is inside this nice little bag that it comes with. And I did see there's some paperwork in here, so maybe that has a little bit of a sneak peek into the design side of things. So, first piece this is usually used for importing, and I've seen these on a few different competitor sites for importing, so it's got the stamp and whatnot. Feel free to pause and duplicate it and import knives from Russia into the US or Canada. Please don't do that, unless you want to sell to me direct. Certificate of authenticity, so there's your COA. KeyOne Ocean Heart is what they're calling this one. And the KeyOne is kind of the design, and which is cool. So blade material, I can't even read what that says. nl.l retrieval 61 hardness, made last year. 3mm thickness, which is nice. 85mm length. Mammoth Tooth handle material. Mammoth Tooth. So that would be the handle material I was talking about, how it was a natural material. So it's interesting how they can't really say what that is. Weight 100 PR. I'm guessing that's something. Pivots. N690, 58 hardness. That's pretty cool. Ceramic 2 roller bearings, and liner lock. That is a cool design. Making Anton and is that Yuri? Made in Russia. Signature signed. That is a really banging COA. I think that's so cool when you get that kind of stuff. The Ocean Heart. Super cool. Oh man, there's always something. I'm always jealous when I get to see this kind of stuff in real time, because they are literally works of art. So natural material is Mammoth Tooth. That is so cool. I wonder where they. I'm just going to quickly Google that, because I want to see where that comes from. Yeah, I actually can't find a whole lot of information on what. When you search Mammoth Tooth, there's like you can guess what's going to come up. But anyway. Super cool. So I guess the writing I did find on the NL site, and they actually called it Rietveld Nebula, Heart of the Ocean, is I guess what this particular model is called. So At the time of this video, they were originally listing that at $2,800 US on their site, which is pretty crazy considering, and I understand it. Like, there's a lot going on with this knife, and obviously it is the K1 model, but sometimes it's just tough to translate some of this stuff. So there you go. Just from Googling Mammoth Tooth, it ends up showing up, which is so cool. But definitely dig it. The ceramic bearings are a nice touch. I'd like to get a close-up on the blade edge to see what we're working with here. Let's take a look. Hopefully the colors are kind of coming through. I have a 3-foot light that's on top of this with a big light box. So sometimes it's not the easiest to see colors here. But hopefully some purples and blues kind of make it through. Real consistent grind on that blade, I must say. They've done a great job with that. And the inlays, anytime you have an inlay that's a little different, I'm telling you, like, it's perfectly imperfect. This is not a knife that I would be, trying to carry around and show people that are, first timers into the knife world. Because often the super loud, the Damascus, it's what a lot of, gas stations would sell. And it's because that's what they assume quality is like heavy blades, lots of layers and whatever. And it's like, you can do that cheap. But when you actually hold the real thing, dragon scale Damascus, like, it's so cool. So smooth, just so well done, and just different than anything that I own by a mile. It would be something that, if you showed someone, a Timex watch, and you're like, yeah, this tells time, and then you show them a fully loaded Rolex. They both tell time, but it's just a work of art. And for the watch timepiece aficionados, I know Rolex is not the end-all be-all. I know you can spend a lot more money, but I'm just trying to make a fair comparison, saying that they both do the same thing, but obviously at two completely different levels. I just love seeing the difference in the pattern, right? As you kind of go down. I just think this is so cool. I just think it's so freaking cool. Real beefy on the tip as well. Lots of protection for that blade. There isn't a whole lot of it exposed, other than the sides here, which is nicely done. The concern that I would have if it was a production knife is the fact that this is sticking up a little bit from the frame. So if you did drop it, that would be something I would worry about. But obviously, it's not a production knife. In terms of fit in hand, you've got a nice sweep to the blade, which looks great. They do offer this same design in a production version, I believe, called the KeyOne. So size-wise, I would assume remains the same, but nice upswept jimping, nice and smooth. Lots of different colors in the jimping as well. Real nice. The flipper tab integrates nicely as well into the bottom of the frame here. And it almost looks like a Nike swoosh. See what I'm saying? Isn't that funny? Now on the actual liner, it has the same pattern that the underside of the back spacer had. So if I'm looking at this, and I'll grab my little light, I believe the entire internals of this has that same pattern I was talking that Matt should tell me what it's called. But I'm going to go with engine turn. That's what I thought it was. But it's all over the inside. That's what she said. Sorry, I can't resist. Nice. It's a nice fit in your hand. It's not too crazy. It's a good size. I'd be curious to see how a production version compares in terms of the... not production. I think they're all mid-tech, beyond, other than their customs. But as far as I can tell, this is a one-off. Super cool. All Torx as well, 1, 2, 3. And in terms of if you wanted to take this guy apart, since it is riveted, I don't know how you'd even adjust this. Nothing's loose, no rattles. I'm not too sure how you'd adjust that. That would be a question for those guys. And the backspacer, this is what I really dig. It's just the backspacer. Like, you could easily fill that up with titanium and have it look whatever. But I like when it's just has that extra little design pattern to it. I think it looks so cool, and as you can see, the holes go right down into it. It's just so entertaining and just interesting. Like, you know, people who are watching this video that see this knife and think it's ugly or hideous or whatever, that's fine. You know, to me, it's, you have to be able to, you know, if you're a big race car guy, for example, and you love Subaru STIs, you know, you have to be able to appreciate, you know, a Formula One car. Yes, they're both nice and fast, but at a whole different level. You know, comparing this to, you know, a production knife, like, it's not, a production knife's not going to be as flashy, as loud, as detailed, but you have to be able to appreciate when something is done so well. Like, I'm trying to roll here and like show you the texture of this natural mammoth, whatever they called it. What did I say? Natural material, mammoth something. It's just so well done. I don't know why the camera's ISO just shot right up there, but hopefully that fixed itself. That was interesting. Yeah, it's just so well done, and you can see the texture here. You know, I thought it was rock, and it's funny how full circle, it's, you know, apparently tooth. You see it all along the back here as well. Just the texture that pops through, like the clear coat that they're using. But it's not just the look when you look at it like this. It's the texture you see when you roll it around on the light, and it looks so three-dimensional. It's really incredible. I think that is a real beautiful knife. What do you guys think? Good, bad, ugly? I can't see something like this being anything but collectible, especially if NL takes off in North America. Like, this is their custom, right? So I can't see why it wouldn't be something special to look at and care for, and keep a microfiber cloth underneath. See what I did there? Anyway, very beautiful knife. That when it first came out of the little bag, I was just like, oh my goodness. Just seeing something that's so shiny like that, it's very unique. You don't see that often. You don't see polished titanium. So anyway, well, that is the NL Knives KeyOne K1 in the Bertie Rietveld Nebula Heart of the Ocean pattern, which is on their website as well, which is super cool. And I hope they don't pull that link down. If you know, buyers, they always like to see the specs and be able to talk about it and read all about it, especially when you know, I guess they call this the exclusive series. So when they're one-offs, you know, it is nice to kind of keep track of the history on the knife, when it was made, you know, read all about it and understand it. You know, that's the coolest part. Hopefully the camera was able to pick up some of the color of that dragon scale Damascus. You know, I really hope it, like, I'm looking at a little tiny image of it, but I'm hoping it doesn't look black or white. I'm hoping you see some deep purples and blues, because that's really what it is when you're looking at it with your eye. So hopefully you're able to see that. It's a material you don't see every day, that's for sure. And it's the first time of mine seeing it in person as well, and it's pretty cool. Alright guys, well, thanks for stopping by. Check out BladeZilla.ca, and if you have any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And until next time, I will see you later. Okay, guys? Peace.